We shall be starting in a minute or two, just to be sure that everybody is in the room. Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen and students, all right? So today we are very, very happy and honored to have Miss Kimberly E. Williams, all the way from University of Alabama, USA. She's going to have a session with us on powerful communication and negotiation. Now, before Miss Kimberly starts, I will share a bit of a bio, her profile, all right? Miss Kimberly Williams is the teaching professor at the University of Alabama, US. She is an educator, researcher, and students of all things and teaching and learning. With over 10 years of experience in higher education, she is committed to the creation of content and resources that motivate and inspire students to learn and lead. So Ms. Kimberly and I were both the recipient of the Emerging Scholar Awards by Common Ground Research Network back in 2019 at Hobart, Australia. So those were the good times, isn't it, Kimberly?
It was a great conference. I was happy to share that award with you, Dr. Jenny.
Yes. So over to you. Without further ado, I will pass the floor to Ms. Kimberly. Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Jenny. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I know it's morning there, so good morning. It is 9:15 here in Alabama, and so I'm really happy to be with you all. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can kick off our presentation, because I'm really very excited to share my thoughts on powerful communication. All right, can everyone see my screen? Go ahead and give me a thumbs up in the chat. I want to make sure all those features are working for us. Wonderful, wonderful. I see some yeses coming through in the chat. All right, so welcome to Powerful Communication and Negotiation, right? I am passionate and excited to talk about communication because I think that is the foundation of how we interact with others. We know that our communication has shifted lately, given the pandemic. We are talking much more over Zoom. We are focusing so much more on our body language. But I think it's especially within these times where our culture around communication is changing, that we continue to practice and work on our communication so it is continuously a part of our professional development. So today I'm going to discuss some principles surrounding powerful communication, and then I want to share with you how we can apply that communication to something as simple as negotiation. These are some things that you will have to do in your school environment, in your work environment, kind of in everyday life. So I think these are things that you'll find relatively applicable. During the presentation, there will be one little part where I will ask for your participation in the chat, so look out for that. The first thing that I love to begin with is the fact that communication is a skill. I get comments from students all the time that say, Mrs. Williams, I'm not so good at communication, or I can't seem to get my words out, or something as simple as I want to tell my group member or my professor something that I am advocating for, or maybe some bad news, and I just don't know how to get it out. And I always showcase or tell my students this particular quote: communication is like learning to ride a bike. How many people, right in the chat, can ride a bike? How many people can ride a bike? Give me a yes, a thumbs up. How many people can play an instrument? All right, Morgan says he can. Anybody else? How many people can color? How many people can paint? Right? If you can do these are things that you learn how to do over time. The thing about good communication is that you have to be willing to work at it. And it can be something very simple, right? Communication is not a hard task. If you had a conversation with someone this morning, you engaged in communication, you took a step towards excellent delivery, you took a step towards powerful communication, you took a step towards expressing yourself. So every day that you open your mouth and you interact and you talk, you're working on your communication. What I want to do today is allow you to polish that up. So we're going to work on improving that aspect of your communication, so it moves from just passively interacting and talking and more into that assertive, strong, powerful stance. Now, there are 4 styles of communication, and you might fall within these styles. Let's take the top left. There's an aggressive communication style where you're a little bit more demanding, a little bit maybe strong-willed, hostile. You're not afraid to say your way and lead strongly from the front. Aggressive is not necessarily a bad communication style. However, it's not one that holds elements where you are looking to not only respect your interest and the other person's interest, right? We also have a passive communication style, right? So you have that style in which you are a little bit more reserved. You will listen more than you speak. You sometimes make, excuses for what you're about to say. And so you kind of hold back on what you wish to express. Now there's in between, right? For every left and right, there's some kind of in between, and that's where the passive aggressive falls. And I think of the 4 communication styles, the passive aggressive one, is one that you want to stay away from, because here it can sometimes lend itself to being disingenuous. So you want to be kind and hold back, but then you have kind of an undertone of hostility. So you'll find that a passive aggressive person doesn't want to come right out and say what they need to say. So they'll turn it in or be convoluted in their speech before they kind of express what they want. And that sometimes can rub people the wrong way. So these 3 styles of communication, aggressive, passive, and passive aggressives, are not ones in which align beautifully with being open, direct, and honest, right? For these communication styles, there's elements of that is missing. The style that really hits on those points is the assertive communication style. And this is where your powerful communication comes from. You want to be assertive. So let me define that for you all. Assertive communication allows you as the person to express yourselves and your ideas, whether it be positive ideas or negative ideas, in an open, honest, and direct way. Those 3 things can be achieved using this communication style. A lot of times it's very easy for us to be open, honest, and direct when things are positive. For example, I could say, Morgan, you look wonderful today. If Morgan and I worked on a group, I could say, Morgan, you worked on this particular thing with me. It was awesome. You did a great job, right? And it's easy for me to express those things, positive things, in an open, honest, and direct way. It is the negative ideas that sometimes people have a hard time expressing, right? It's hard for us to tell someone that they have not done a good job, for us to be open, for us to be honest, for us to be direct. And I want to encourage you all that sometimes it is the negative ideas that we really need to push forth using our aggressive communication style. And negative doesn't always have to be bad. Maybe we are correcting action. Maybe we are asking for improvement. Maybe we are showcasing someone how to do something differently. This is really where we need to be and show our assertive communication and where our powerful communication comes from. The beauty about assertive communication is that it not only recognizes your rights, right? So you get to express yourself openly and honestly, but you also get to respect the other person's rights. So I'm going to use Morgan again for an example. Morgan, if you worked on a project for me and I wanted you to do something different, I would openly express that. I would let you know honestly what went well and what did not work so well. And I would be direct about how I wanted you to make that change or what I wanted you to do. I would be respecting my ability to let you know, that I want to go in a new direction, while also respecting what you have done and our relationship together. This is the sweet spot. This is the win-win of assertive communication, where you lift up yourself, but you also help the other person as well. This is the communication sweet spot. So let's take a look at how we're going to achieve this assertive communication, because I talked about how communication is a skill and it's easy. It's like riding a bike. But there's another element of your assertive communication that you must embody, right, in order for this communication to flow or come out as easy as I expressed. And that number one thing is you must be confident. Self-confidence is absolutely key. Now, Dr. Ivan Joseph does an excellent TED Talk, and I'm going to share that in the chat in just a couple of minutes, where he talks about the skill of self-confidence. He says that confidence or self-confidence is the ability to believe that you can accomplish any task, no matter the odds, no matter the difficulty, and no matter the adversity. And given the nature of the pandemic this year, everybody should be rising to this level of self-confidence. And this is where your assertive communication will land you. It will land you in an area where you feel you can be honest with someone, you can be open about your ideas, no matter how difficult it might be. You need to ensure that you're elevating your self-confidence. You're telling yourself that you can do this and truly believe in that. Right? Many of you already have excellent confidence, and this is something that you're built in. For some of you, these are things that are growing. And I know for me, when I was an undergraduate student, even coming into my teaching profession, I had to work on my self-confidence. I had to constantly pump myself up to let myself know that I can accomplish the things that I want to. So I have some areas that I think if you follow these particular areas or these particular concepts, you can really land yourself in the sweet spot of self-confidence. So I have 3 C's, the 3 C's of confidence. My first C is control, right? You have to be aware and control of your emotions, control as to what the outcome you want in a particular situation. You have to control simple things such as your breathing. Every time I give a presentation, I always get a little bit of jitters. I get a little bit of nerves. And I want to let you all know that nerves are okay. Nerves is a reaction in your body where you are letting you're gearing your body up to do something wonderful and powerful. So the element of control allows you to take that in, absorb that nervousness, control your breathing, control what you can, right? Make sure you're prepared. And this will really boost you in an element of confidence. The next C is clarity. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you are unsure, or maybe you have to express something in an open, honest, and direct way, be very clear about what your intent is. What is it that you want to accomplish here? What is it that is the issue or the problem? What is it that you want to express? Making sure that your ideas are clear allows you to be, again, in control of the environment and the situation, and much more confident in your delivery. My last C is obviously confidence, because I think it stems from my prior 2 C's. If you are in control of the environment as best as you can, you have controlled your breathing, you have absorbed your nervousness, and you're clear about what you need, then your confidence will definitely rise. And once you have that self-confidence, you will be able to do anything you need. You'll be able to overcome adversity. You will be able to work through any difficult task. And as it aligns with your communication, you will be able to respect your rights, the other person's rights, in an open, honest, and direct way. So all of this comes with practice, right? We have to be able to think through situations where we can apply these concepts. So let's do that here. I have a scenario that I would like you to read on my next slide. let's take this scenario, and I would love for you to respond in the chat. This scenario says that you are making a presentation to a group. One of the members of the group starts asking overbearing questions. They're behaving really hostile. What do you say? So in the chat, just do a quick little write as to what you might say. Try to apply the assertive communication style and try to apply those 3 C's. I'll give you just maybe 1 minute to write in the chat. Go ahead, Dr. Ho. Mr. Ho, go ahead. I see you have your hand up.
Oh. Yes.
Mr. Ho, we can hear you. If you're talking, you can go ahead and speak.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I turn on my thing. So, yeah, so if someone asks me, starting to doing overbearing questions and being hostile,
Yes.
I will ask, maybe give everyone here an opportunity to go through all these presentations first, and then maybe you could then ask your questions after this, and then from there, if I couldn't answer you, maybe someone from here could actually help me to answer you, or is there something that is there a reason why you are acting this way for this particular session? I think, yeah.
That was a perfect response. Perfect response. That really applies our assertive communication style. I think it's really very important in a scenario such as this to, again, let's do the open, honest, direct. You want to be open. You want to address the person who is asking you these questions, right? You want to ensure that you're asking, how can I help? How can I be of assistance here? And then you can actually give that person a task. Maybe ask them to open up a Google Sheet or a document where they can write down all their questions, because you want to be of assistance, right? You want to also let them know that in order for the presentation to be successful, we have to make it through it, right? So let's put the questions to the last 10 minutes of the session so I can get to them, right? Morgan also said, she said, I will ask how you're feeling today. Maybe it's just a bad day. Very true, Morgan, right? Again, you are respecting the other person's rights and feelings, but also elevating your own. So I'm glad that Mr. Ho and Morgan decided that they're definitely going to address the person, be open with them, let them know exactly what is happening, right? And then give them a task, ask them to do something. If their questions cannot be answered right within the session, have them write it down. And also you can express after the presentation directly to that person how you felt, right? Sometimes, we're unaware, for example, Morgan, if they're having a bad day, how we have come across to someone, right? You say, you were asking me really tough questions. How are you feeling, right? What I need to do, how can I make this better, right? That way, again, you have been open, you have been honest, you have been direct, and elevating your rights as well as respecting theirs. So this was a perfect response. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Yeah, let's look at another scenario, right? Scenario B. Scenario B says you and your classmate, right, have worked extensively on a project. Your classmate delivers the project presentation, but fails to acknowledge your assistance or incorporated ideas. What do you do here? Let's apply our assertive communication once more. You can write it in the chat, or you can turn your mics on and let us hear what you think. You can type your comments in the chat if you'd like, no problem. Or you can turn your mics on and we'll be happy to hear you as well. Whichever one works. What might you say in this situation? Because I'm sure this might have happened to, maybe one or two of you here. Or if it has never occurred, how would you handle this if this was a situation? Wonderful. Mr. Ho, I love that, right? I like that you expressed how you felt about that situation. And when we're expressing feelings, especially when it might be something that's negative, again, we want to control our emotion. So you might say something like, Mr. Ho, I noticed that you didn't mention me in your, just an example, Mr. Ho, you didn't mention me in your presentation. I did, what is it that why is it that was so? Or is there something that I needed to add in? Or how can we ensure that this does not happen again? Right? You definitely want to address the issue that was incorporated, because a lot of times when we go into presentations, we need to express our interests. Like, I would love to take a part in this presentation so I can share my ideas. Or when you say this, these last 2 slides, please make mention that I gave this idea, right? Morgan, that was a perfect example. You said you personally say how you felt. You'll tell them that's not entirely their fault. Remind them to be more conscious. I love that. Right? Okay, Romeo's had a good point as well. You might want to meet after the lecture to make sure things are clear. Good. Okay, Jason said he'll address the issue, find ways to improve. I love that. I love that you're finding a future solution, Jason, right? So the time to tackle the issue, since the presentation has already passed, might not be at that present moment, but you can at least let your classmate know, like, any future presentations we're going to have, I would like this. I would like to my ideas to be shared. I would like to probably get an opportunity to express my thoughts on a slide or two, right? Again, the aim here is to ensure that you are being direct in how you feel, right? You're being open about the issue. You're expressing yourself in a way that respects your rights as well as the rights of someone else. And anytime, I chose these 2 scenarios because they involve situations in which you might have some negative ideas to express. So as I said before, it's easy to express positive. Sometimes it's the negative that trips us up. So negative situations can be expressed directly. It's all about the how, and the assertive communication allows you to do just that. Wonderful. Thank you so much. That was actually perfect. So now that we have mastered the assertive communication style, I have some steps for you, right? If you're going to take this style on, right, this is going to be your style of how you communicate forward. Anytime you want to express yourself assertively, you must assess the request, right? So you must take control of what is going on, assess what is being asked of you, assess the situation so that you can respond accordingly. This is part of your 3 C's. Ask questions where necessary. Like Morgan said, Morgan said that you would ask the person if they're having a bad day, right? How can you be helpful, right? Jason talked about addressing the situation in a future presentation. These are things you want to find out. Mr. Ho said he will also ask why the person is behaving a particular way, right? These are very essential so that you can know how to respond, get a better clarity and understanding of the situation. Absolutely no apologizing, right? Don't be sorry for how you feel, right? Don't make excuses for what's actually happening, right? So don't say, I'm sorry that we have to talk about this, or I'm sorry that I have to address this, etc. So you want to be mindful and
Kimberly, just hold on for a while. I just want to
sure, no problem.
Turn off the mic off.
And we can hear your background. If you can mute yourself. All right. Perfect. Got the problem solved. So let's jump back where we paused just a little bit. So I said, no excuses, no apologizing. You are confident, you are sure. So never apologize for how you feel about a situation, because you know that in your assertive communication, you are expressing your rights as well as respecting theirs. So as long as we have that great balance. And then Jason did this perfectly. Future suggestions, right? Future alternatives. How can we improve? How can we make this better going forward? These are beautiful ways in which to tap into your confidence and tap into your assertive communication. Wonderful. So we have the verbal communication, perfect. Let's talk about the nonverbal, right? For every verbal element, there is a nonverbal component, and the nonverbal is powerful. This is one of my favorite quotes. The most important thing in communication is to hear what isn't being said. And having been wearing masks for so long, we have been watching people's body language and eyes and postures and gesture, etc., and kind of interpreting how people are feeling based on, their body language and their movement. This also aligns with your powerful communication. You want to sit powerfully, right? You want to gesture powerfully. You want to use space powerfully so that it complements your words. For example, let's look at some high and low power poses. If you are standing, you want to stand tall, you want to take space, you want to have your hands in a way in which you feel open. You don't want to shrink or hunch yourself down. As you speak, as you communicate, you want to ensure that you are clear and your body language matches your communication. This is key in order for your body language to resonate or connect with what you are saying. Having those two things work together will allow you to have a greater connection with others. I'm going to also drop in the chat just at the end of the presentation another video that talks a lot about powerful communication and shows you these power poses in video format. So just stand by for those towards the end. The last little thing that I want to talk about tonight, this morning, is negotiation, right? And why I chose negotiation towards the end is because it's really very important for you to master the ideal of self-confidence, to master assertive communication, right? To know how to navigate that before you step into something like a negotiation. And a negotiation is all about having a discussion. It is an essential part of your communication, but it is strategic, right? Because in that negotiation, you are trying to find a way in which both parties can find that sweet spot, that win-win, right? So each party tries to persuade or assertively express their ideas so that the other person will agree with their point of view. So say, for example, you are in a classroom situation where you might have gotten a low grade on an assignment, right? And you want to kind of speak with your instructor or your professor to address that grade, to figure out how can you improve, what can you do going forward, right? This is where you would tie in your assertive communication. You will be open, you will be honest, right? You'll be direct about how you feel, right? You definitely want to communicate what is the issue. So you want to be clear. You want to be very in control of your emotions, right? So you want to make sure that you're respecting the professor's position and authority, but you're also expressing how you think you can improve on that assignment. Then you want to think about some alternatives, right? What can you do to showcase that you have learned that particular task or topic? What can you suggest that you can show that professor so that they can probably give you some extra points or extra credit? Or what can you say assertively that will give you an opportunity to may even redo or resubmit the assignment? All of that in your negotiation aligns with your assertive communication, right? You have to ensure that you're coming in with a confident aura, that you're clear in your comments or what you want, and you have thought through the situation or scenario so that even if you don't get exactly what you need, you at least get your best alternative, right? So that is all about, balancing, what you need and figuring out how you can get to that sweet spot where both you and your professor can come into a happy medium. So let me leave you with some action steps. If you are engaged in any kind of negotiation, and it doesn't have to be within a school context, it can be in a work context where you're negotiating something like your salary, you always want to quantify your accomplishments. What have you done? What can you bring to the table? right? Has your accomplishments, or what is it that you have done that can now add to that person, or add to the classroom? You always want to bring documentation, right? So what can you show in terms of improvement, right? What kind of skill level do you have that you can showcase? The quantify, bring, show are clear action steps that will allow you to push yourself into a position where people can see your point of view, they can understand where you're coming from, and you can communicate that wonderfully and clearly. That embodies your self-confidence and shows that you and what you're saying, right, is the best way in which to present that information. Assertive communication, again, I cannot stress enough, is a beautiful skill. It's one that you will need regardless of any situation, and it's one that can be learned but must often be practiced. So anytime, or I hope that based on our presentation tonight, you can go forth with these action steps and you can start to practice, improve, and showcase your excellent, powerful communication and negotiation skills. Thank you so much. Right? I hope this was a very wonderful topic for you all and you took away some things from it. And I appreciate you all listening to me for these last 30 minutes or so. I'm going to open up the floor now for some Q&A. Right? If you have any questions, please go ahead and turn your mic on and talk with me, or you can drop your questions in the chat. I'll be happy to answer. But thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time.
Students, if you have any question, please feel free to ask Miss Kimberly.
Hi, Miss Kimberly.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm Morgan. So I have a question.
Yes.
So speaking about negotiation, I also previously I learned that we have like 4 types of people.
Right.
When when we negotiate, there's like different ways we negotiate depending on the person's personality and stuff. And how do you think like we can like incorporate into the negotiation thing? Because the negotiation thing, does it like work for everybody, or do we have to like improve this negotiation thing a bit according to different people?
So you want to always be, that's a great question, Morgan. You want to always be aware of the person that you are interacting with. So you need to do a little bit of homework prior to stepping into that negotiation. So you might want to do a little bit of research on the person, right? Kind of know their background. You won't be able to know every single thing about the person and their personality, but you'll get a little bit of an idea about who they are. Maybe look at their LinkedIn and their social page so you can get an idea of where they started, what their interests are. So having that background knowledge of them, you'll have a little bit of leverage to work with. Then when you go into the negotiations, it is important that you are asking questions of them just as much as you are asserting what you need. That way you can kind of think as you're going through the process, get insights into the person, right? Negotiation has a lot to do with observation too, Morgan. So once you're in that scenario or situation, observe how things are going. Pay attention to their body language and the things that they are saying as well. So you know how much to kind of give and how much to kind of push ahead, so that even though the aim is always to get exactly what you came into the negotiation to achieve. But if you don't get that 100%, you can fall at least to your best alternative. So you have to strategize and think about all the possible avenues you can potentially go down, right? Because you can only control so much. Does that make sense, Morgan?
Yes, I understand. Thank you.
Wonderful. Great question. Thank you. And thank you so much for your comments.
Any other questions, students? I think this is the a good opportunity for you to ask Ms. Kimberly any questions regarding the communication or negotiation.
I dropped some videos in the chat as well. Some of them are TED Talks. They're really interesting, and they'll kind of complement some of the things we talked about tonight. And they're not too long. Thank you, Sylvia. I appreciate that.
Mr. Ho, one more question from you.
Dr. Jenny, why are you doing this to me?
Mr. Ho, you gave great questions. You gave great answers today. You were awesome.
Okay. Kimberly, how do we relate to our boss? So maybe you can give us some pointers about managing our boss expectations. Maybe some that would be quite interesting. Yeah.
That's a great question. The first thing that is very important when you're managing your boss's expectation is that you and your boss has to sit down and you have to express what you can bring to the table. And sometimes I think it's important that your bosses know your your capacity to what you need, what you can improve within the company, right? So say, Mr. Ho, you have hired me to do a particular thing, you are my supervisor, then it's important that we have an initial sit down to say, this is what I want to bring to your company, Mr. Ho. This is what I think we can achieve. I want to give very smart goals, right? So those goals need to be specific. They need to be time-oriented, right? They need to be measurable so that we can at least track how we are achieving certain things. I wouldn't tell you, Mr. Ho, we can accomplish something in a day if it's not possible. So, and it's important for me to know as well, you know, as being your employee, whether or not you need it to be accomplished in a day. So this is where these initial meetings with your boss or your superior needs to come into play, where you can outline, this is what we can do, right? What is your timeline as well, so that we can try to coordinate and figure out what is the best option or alternative. And I think that's the best way that you can manage your boss's expectations, so by letting them know upfront how you can handle certain things, how you plan to tackle certain tasks, and giving very smart and measurable goals.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, I think that's the end for Miss Kimberly's session. All right, that is really, really wonderful. I think the students will actually got a lot of takeaways from your session, especially the 3 C's. I do, all right. So I personally, I have learned a lot. Thank you so much, Kimberly. For those students, all right, please rest assured, you can see Miss Kimberly again. I have actually invited her as one of our global speakers, global classroom speaker. Yeah, so stay tuned. She will be talking to all of you probably in August, I think, Kimberly.
Yes.
Beginning of August. Yeah. So in another topic. Yeah.
All right.
So
Thank you.
yes, most welcome. So before we end the session, can we actually take a group photo? Kimberly, can you just stop share?
Okay, no problem.
Everyone, can you on your cameras just to take photos? Sean, can you help to take the photo, Sean? Hi, Dato'
Yeah,
Yu.
sure, no problem.
All right, Sean, you have to take the cue, yeah? Can you all on your camera? Thank you. On your camera first, guys. Lutfi, yes. Junaina, Romeo, Tanjinki. So that we have all the faces there. Lovely people. Siti Nodiana. Clement, Junaina. All right. Sean, cue please.
All right, so 3, 2, 1, and go. All right, done.
Okay, one more, freestyle.
One more. Wait.
Freestyle.
Freestyle. Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. All right.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Kimberly. I would
Thank
not
you,
want
everybody.
to.
It's nice to
Yeah.
see you. Thank you.
I'll see you again. Take care.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Kimberly.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. All right, students. So we will go into the second session, all right, which is my session on digitalization. I will be sharing my slides. Let me just click share, yeah? Can you all see this?
Yes.
Can everyone see this? Hello?
Yes, Doctor.
Can, Miss.
Yes.
Okay, good, good. At least I know you guys are not sleeping. All right. Okay, so we have had a wonderful session with Miss Kimberly, all right, on the powerful communication and negotiation. Today, my session, I would like to actually share with you guys on digitalization, yeah? How to future-proof your career in business, yeah? Now, before I start, I would like you all to scan this QR code, all right? And answer just one simple question for me. Or you can go to slido.com and key in the number with the hashtag. So I give you 1 minute to do that. And I will be able to share the answers in a while, yeah? So just 1 minute, answer one simple question. I hope all of you have scanned the QR code. I'm going to share with you the answers, yeah? Just give me one moment. It's a bit slow today. Just give me one moment, yeah? Have you all key in? Please key in your answer. Okay, it is not loading yet. I probably will come back for the answer. All right, let me just go through my slide first, if that's the case. That's the problem with technology, isn't it? You can have the advancement in technology, but at the same time, it is not going accordingly as and when you wanted it. Let me just go through here. All right, can you see my screen, the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay, loud and clear. Thank you. All right. Now, I would like to share with you, these are the 10 jobs that it is not existent, all right, 10 years ago. Now, why is that so? Let's look at the jobs first, all right? So 10 years ago, you don't have all these kind of jobs, all these kind of occupation. So now, right now, you have iOS developer, you have Android developer, you have the application developer, all right? And Zumba instructor. Who knows what is Zumba, isn't it? 10 to 20 years ago. And of course, we have the social media intern or social media manager, whereby your task or your job is actually to handle your client's social media account, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and so forth. Then, of course, we have the data science and big data architect, whereby you will manage all the data. And we have the UI UX designer. Now, what is this UI UX designer? User interface and user experience. I'm sure most of you have the account in, you have the app, like for example, Lazada, Shopee, and so forth, isn't it? Now, the way how you go in, the experience that you have with this app, like for example, how smooth is it for you to go in, how you navigate in the application, how smoothly is your transaction being performed. This is what we call as user interface and user experience designer. Yeah. And for those of you who are fitness inclined, all right, you may want to be a beach body coach. All right. Then we have cloud services specialist, whereby you manage your data application and so forth. And of course, we have the digital marketing specialist. Yeah. Now, I want to ask all of you, what do you see here? Can anyone answer me or type in the chat box?
I know this.
What's that?
So my mom told me that in China, the QR code is actually flown by drones, and then she tried to scan it. It actually works.
Yes, you are right, Morgan. Okay, so this is the first time in Shanghai. Okay, they are actually flying thousands of drones, and these drones actually formulate a QR code in the sky. All right. And when you scan the code, it is workable. All right. Just like what Morgan said. And if you scan the code, what will happen? It will direct you to the Games app. Now, this is the future. All right. This is the digitalization in business that we are talking about. Okay. Now, as a student, what you can actually gain, all right, what you can actually do right now when you are studying, how can you get all these skills, all right? Because of the advancement of the technology we're talking about, because of the industry revolution, okay, all these things have been accelerated, okay? Now, I would like to share with you the IR for the industry revolution first. Okay, so we have the first industry revolution in 1784, whereby we focus on mechanization, steam power, and so forth. All right. In 1870, IR 2.0 came into picture. We focus on mass production, assembly line, all right, and electrical energy. And in industry, in 1969, we have the industry 3.0, which is the automation, computers, and electronics. Fast forwarded to today, we are now in IR 4.0. So what is this IR 4.0? IR 4.0 focuses in what I call as ABC. A for artificial intelligence, B for big data, blockchain, and C for cloud computing. Right? Now, with this revolution in the industry, coupled with the pandemic, all right, in 2 more days, we are all going into full lockdown and so forth. All these have actually accelerated the changes in the business world. And that's why digitalization is very important. And that's why it is very important for you, when you are studying right now, to acquire the skills that are needed before you even go out and work. All right. So what are the skills that we are talking about here? Let's look at the skills. Yeah. What are the top 10 skills that are sought after by the employers? All right. So you look at 2015 and then you look at 2020 onwards, yeah, which is last year onwards. So of course we have complex problem solving. You need to know how to solve problem. You need to know how to critically think, how to be creative, how to coordinate with others. How do you want to manage people? That's very important. How do you make decisions? And how do you negotiate? So Miss Kimberly has already done a very good job in sharing with you guys on how to do negotiation. Okay, then we have how to be a service-oriented person. Okay, now the two things that I want to highlight here are the important, which have gained much importance 2020 onwards, which is emotional intelligence and cognitive flexibility. Now, emotional intelligence, we talk about how aware are you of your feelings, of your own emotion, all right? And how do you want to control and manage your emotions, okay? And on the other hand, you will also need to look at how you want to manage the relationship with people around you. Because at the end of the day, when you go out and work, you are not working alone, you know, you are not in silo, all right? You are working with other people. So the way how you communicate, the way how you bring yourself, how you want to interact with each other, that's very important. And that is emotional intelligence. Yeah, emotional intelligence, as what they call it, street smart. All right, you got to be street smart apart from book smart. Okay, then of course we have the cognitive flexibility. Cognitive flexibility, we are talking about your mental strength. Okay, how strong are you when you are facing challenges? All right, how adaptable are you in the world that is evolving right now? Because as far as we are talking right now, the world is changing. Okay, in next 2 days, we are having full lockdown and all the businesses, everything are affected. So how can you adapt to these kind of changes in a split second? All right, so that is cognitive flexibility. So these are the things that you actually need to take into consideration, all right, when you go out and work. These are the skills that are needed, all right? Now, I'm going to share with you also, these are another top 10 skill. Of course, there are some overlapping with what I've shown in the previous slide. By 2025, meaning to say by the time you guys graduate, these are the skills needed. All right, this is taken from World Economic Forum. All right, so of course they categorize into 4 types of skill, which is problem solving, self-management, which is part of emotional intelligence, working with people, which is a part of emotional intelligence, technology use and development. Okay, so when you go out and work, your employer, all right, your boss expect you to have analytical thinking, to be innovative, all right, active learning. You got to be good in problem solving. You have to critically think in every situation. You got to be creative and you got to put in initiative. Yeah. Of course, tech-based application. All right. Tech-based skills are very important nowadays. Technology use, technology design, and how well you cope with the stress. Your stress tolerance level must be there. Yeah. And of course, reasoning and problem solving. So these are the skills that are pretty much needed, all right, when you go out and work. Yeah. So you as a student, all right, how can you actually stay competitive in the job market? I know some of you may not be in the foundation year, may not be in the university yet, all right? Some of you may be just finishing your SPM and all these things, but to me, it's never too late to plan for your future, okay? So at Saito University College, we actually impart the learning skills to our students, all right? We encourage our students to critically think, all right? We encourage them to be creative, all right? And how do we do that? We give them the assessment, all right? And our assignments are not only just theory-based, but we impart the industry. We bring the industry to them, okay? Our assessment are actually very much industry hands-on projects, all right? That we would like the students to know, hey, okay, you are not just doing this because theory teaches you to do so, all right? You are doing this because the industry is expecting you to have all these things, okay? So you got to be critical think, all right? You need to know how to have this critical thinking and how to be creative. And when we talk about collaboration and communication, when you work in a group, okay, when you have a group assignment and all this, you will learn how to communicate with each other. Like what Ms. Kimberly mentioned just now, the 3 C's are very important. Yeah, control, clarity, and confidence. All right, and collaboration. How do you want to collaborate? How do you want to put forward your idea? And how do you want to actually step back and say that, oh yeah, right, your idea is actually good, all right? So these are the things that you gotta learn, all right? And these are the survival skills for you in order to stay competitive in a job. Now, let me share with you a story, all right? I've actually conducted a lecture. I think this is way before the MCO and all this. So I was actually giving a lecture. And there was this student, she was constantly on her phone, all right, while I was standing there and giving lecture. So I was curious. Then I actually approached her, okay, and I asked her, are you listening to my lecture or you are doing something else? Yeah. Then to my astonishment, to my surprise, she was actually using her phone, all right, one of the app in her phone to translate my lecture into text, all right? So this is how digitalization actually impact your studies, impact the business world. And this is what I mean here in these slides, the importance of literacy skills, your digital skills, all right? With the abundance information of, in terms of technology and all this in just one snap of a hand, all right, of your fingertips. Google is there. You can ask Google everything under the sun, okay? All the informations are there, all right, through the media and so forth. So it's very important for you to equip yourself with literacy skills, okay? All right, now, the third skills that you need to have when you actually go out in the competitive job market, of course, is the life skill. All right. At Saito University College, I think, as I mentioned during the opening speech, all right, we actually, we have our brand promises, and during the brand promises, we actually we ensure that our students will have the life skills. Now, what does it mean by life skills? Life skills here means that you are very flexible, all right? You are not rigid. You listen to options, and then you provide also suggestion. So you are very flexible in that manner, all right? And you are very productive. You are willing to learn, okay? And you will have the leadership and social skills that needed when you go out and work, all right? Now, leadership doesn't mean that you need to lead people, then you are a leader, all right? That's a wrong concept, yeah? Leadership actually comes from yourself. If you lead yourself very well, if you control yourself very well, you are a leader itself, all right? So before you lead anybody, you need to lead yourself. You need to lead your life. So these are the life skills that we teach or we impart at Saito University College, at Saito Business School, yeah? Okay, now I want to share with you, these are the statistics. What I'm going to share with you, these sessions are actually all the reality, what you will expect when you go out and work, all right, in the next few years. If you look at on the left-hand side, the jobs of the past. So these are the jobs in the previous, all right, in past, okay? What are those things? Laborers, technicians, machine operators, admin. So these are more on the hands-on, okay? That means you really have to do hands-on thing. But when you look at the left hand, all right, on your left screen, you have the jobs of the future. So who are these jobs of the future? Who are these? What are these jobs of the future? Yeah, you have professionals, you have managers, you have community and personal service focus, and you have sales. Yeah. So jobs of the future demand enterprise skills, business skills, enterprise skills. We can actually refer it to business skill, 70% more than jobs of the past. All right. We are talking about you need to actually have 260% more creativity level, 680% more digital literacy skill, and 110% more presentation skill. And all these things are the things that we are teaching you at Saito Business School. We are actually preparing you for future job ready. And these are the skills that you cannot not have it when you go out and work. Yeah. All right. Now, this is the slides from World Economic Forum to see what are the areas that is in the growth, and what are the areas which are declining. All right. If you look at on the left-hand side, these are the employment outlook that are on the decline side. All right. We talk about office admin, we talk about manufacturing, we talk about installation and maintenance. Yeah. But if you look at on the left-hand side, these are the outlook that you can actually look forward to as part of your employment. Yeah. So what are those? Business, finance, operation, management, all right, education, training. So these are some of the employment outlook, which is on the rise, and business is part of it. Yeah. All right. Now, as part of the business, because in business, we have different area, all right? Business itself is very huge. We have management, we have human resource management, we have digital marketing, we have finance, we have management, we have operation, and so forth. But one of the things that I want to highlight here as part of Saito Business School unique program is our digital marketing program. Yeah. And before I go into that, these are the types of digital marketing elements that you may have encountered across. So we have viral marketing, we have mobile marketing, we have electronic or digital bots, they call it. We have search engine optimization, we have pay-per-click, and I'm sure you know what is social media marketing, all your social media, your Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and whatnot, yeah, and content marketing and so forth. So these are the types of digital marketing. As you can see, digital marketing itself encompasses a lot of area. When it is encompasses a lot of area, that means your job opportunities are wider. All right. You can actually either go into viral marketing, or you can specialize in social media, or you can actually specialize in, you know, electric or digital billboards, or you can even go into SEO, search engine optimization, and so forth. Now, I'm going to share with you, this is an interesting statistics, the 7 most effective digital marketing tactics, all right, which I think most of us, we have used this one way or another, yeah? So we have Google Ads, all right? We have Facebook, all right? We have Instagram. So now you know, right, when you go to your Instagram, you will have advertisement coming in, all right, paid ads, all right? So these are what we call as one of the digital marketing tool, all right? And you have YouTube, right? For example, when you, before you go into your, the video that you wanted to see, then you have the advertisement. So that is one of it as well. Then of course you have your Shopee and Lazada, all right? So these are the most effective digital marketing tools or tactics in Malaysia right now. Okay, if you look at Facebook, over 25 million Facebook users. Okay, over 25 million Facebook users. And you have 64% of Malaysians use Google. That means most of us, we just Google first before we want to do any purchase decision. Now, I'm sure all of you know what is KOL, isn't it? Key opinion leader or social influencer. This is how the influencer marketing global spend it is, all right? This is in global. So if you talk about In 2015, it is not that much, but when you go up to 2020, the influencer marketing itself, all right, the spend by companies, that means every organization, they will spend on influencer marketing. We are talking about $10 billion, all right? So you can see the impact of digital marketing. Influencer marketing is just part of digital marketing, the impact of it in the overall business, all right, in your operation and so forth. Okay, so this is TikTok versus Instagram and Snapchat. I'm sure most of you will definitely have Instagram already, all right? TikTok, all right? Snapchat. So if you can see the growth of the user, all these social media are actually on the rise, yeah? Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. Okay, now I want to share with you the salary range, okay? If let's say you are interested in digital marketing, say for example. Now, the two lines here is represent, one is diploma, another one is degree, yeah? So these are the job opportunities that you can have if you are interested in digital marketing. So we have e-commerce, you can be a specialist in e-commerce, you can be a digital marketer, you can be a social media manager, content marketing specialist, you can be an search engine optimization specialist, and you can be a business analyst as well. All right. So if let's say you complete your diploma, all right, your salary range will be between 32,000 to 33,000. Yeah. So I'm talking about, this is entry level. Yeah, we are not talking about manager and so forth. So when you enter into the job market, this is the average per year. All right, average per year. However, if you continue your degree after the completion of your diploma, you continue your degree, you see the salary gap. All right, the gap is huge. All right, so usually this is what I advise my student, okay? If you want to take diploma, can, but you don't just stop in diploma, all right? You need to actually continue to your degree, because if you continue to do your degree with another 1.5 years to 2 years, then you are able to get a higher entry level salary. All right, so these are some of the consideration for students, for all of you. If let's say you are still an SPM leavers, all right, whether you want to consider diploma and then continue degree. For those of you who are in diploma, all right, my advice is you need to actually continue your degree so that you will have a better career opportunities plus a better salary range. Okay. All right. Now, if you can see the screen here, okay, I'm sure all of you know all these gentlemen here, right? Okay, we have Jeff Bezos from Amazon. We have Bill Gates from Microsoft. We have Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook, Jack Ma, Alibaba, Larry Ellison, Oracle. We have Elon Musk, Tesla. We have Larry Page, Google. We have Warren Buffett, business tycoon. We have Bernard Arnault, LVMH. We have Carlos Slim Helú, Mexican business tycoon. Now, what do all these people have in common? Anyone can answer me.
They are entrepreneurs.
Yes, very good, Morgan. Now, they are actually successful entrepreneurs of this era. All right. Now, as part of digitalization, as part of business, entrepreneur is actually part of business as well. Okay. I have students coming in and ask me, Dr. Jenny, do we need to actually take entrepreneurship course to be an entrepreneur? My answer to them, not necessarily. Yeah, you can take any of the business course. All right. Let's say, for example, any of the business course. Let's say, for example, at Saito UC, we have 3 degree programs. We have business management, we have human resource management, and we have digital marketing. You can actually take any of these programs and you will learn entrepreneurship itself in this program. The entrepreneurship module is embedded, all right, in this program. So whether you can take entrepreneurship as a course or not, as long as you take business, all right, then you should be able to have some knowledge in entrepreneurship, in entrepreneurs, yeah? Now, these are some of the successful entrepreneur characteristics that I would like to share with you guys, yeah? So they are very knowledgeable, street smart. Remember I said just now, your EQ must be good, must be high, you must be innovative, you are a risk taker, you are enthusiastic, all right? Good management skill, flexible, and so forth. All right, so these are some of the things that I would like to share today. Let me get back to you. Yes, I can finally share with you the answer to your quiz just now. Wait, yeah, let me stop share this first. My apology. Finally, it came back. Yep, can you all see this? So
Yes.
these are the answers that you have provided. Okay, what is your ideal job? Okay, some of you say want to be educator, some of you want to say TikTok influencer. Wow, good. So just now my slides will be very relevant to you. Okay, you want to be your own boss, entrepreneur, yeah? Businesswoman, very good. Love businesswoman. All right, digital marketer, of course. Yeah, because of the digitalization and everything that I have shared just now, everything will go digital. So those are the skills that you need, okay, when you go out and work and as a digital marketer as well. So you want to be teacher, you want to be in logistic. Yeah, logistic is the very in trend, okay, specialization right now. So after my session, we have a specialist in logistic. All right, we have two specialists actually, which is Mr. Chong, okay, as well as Mr. Ho. They will be actually giving you some of the insights, okay, into e-commerce and logistics. So please stay tuned after my session, all right? So we have the, what do you call that, police officer, all right? Instagram influencer, lecturer, okay, have own business, yeah. So these are some of the sharing that you have actually put in as what is your ideal job, okay? So very good. If let's say you have your own ideal job, okay, then you need to materialize that. How are you going to materialize that? This is what I have shared earlier on, okay? So you need to actually equip yourself with all the necessary skills that I have mentioned earlier, all right? Now, before I move to the next session, just would like to highlight to you guys, all right, Miss Kimberly will be coming back as our global classroom speaker in August, all right? So if you want any information, please stay tuned to us. Please follow us at Saito_Bizfood, all right? And we have our IG Business Challenge, who is currently ongoing. You can actually go to our Instagram and have a look at it. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at this email address. All right. Now, before I end my session, I would like to open up to the floor for any question. You can type out your question on the chat box, or you can actually speak to me. No question. No question means everybody will be the expert, will know all the skills that I have mentioned just now. Any question from the floor? You can type in your questions on the chat box if you want to. If you're shy.
Dr. Jenny, I want to ask a question.
Hi, Jason.
Yeah, I always have students in our SBS always ask question. They know marketing is a good subject. The problem is they still don't know the digital marketing, because the word digital marketing courses, we know it's a modern type of marketing on the cyberspace. The problem is they don't really understand the clear career, the career that they have in digital marketing. So it means simple term that they don't know what kind of job, the name of the job that is available in Malaysia.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Good question, Jason. So let me share back again a short while, guys. Yeah, I'll just share back my screen. So I have actually talked about, yeah. So these are some of the job opportunities that you can have under digital marketing. Yeah. So you can be the e-commerce specialist. All right. Digital marketing specialist. All right. You can have the social media manager, whereby you handle all the social media accounts of your clients. So social media accounts, for example, like Facebook, Instagram. So what does it mean by managing this account? Meaning to say you will handle their posting. You will handle any inquiries coming in through the social media, and you will manage, basically you are managing the account. All right. So that is social media manager. Social media manager. Yep. Then of course you have the content marketing. All right. Content marketing means, for example, you want to come up with a campaign. All right. Your client asks you to come up with a campaign for their new product. So what is the content that you want to create for that campaign? So that is what we call as content marketing specialist. All right. Then of course we have the search engine optimization specialist, whereby you will be responsible. All right. Search engine is, for example, how frequent, all right, say for example, Saito University College name appears, all right, when you search in Google, example. All right. And you can have business analyst, how you analyze the sales, all right, the performance of your company. That is business analyst. All right. Now, yeah, for those of you who are still unsure what are the job opportunities, you can always refer back to this. All right. These are the types of digital marketing, and in each and every types of this digital marketing, they have their job career. All right. They have their career prospect. All right. I've already given you example just now, social media marketing. All right. You can do the social media manager. And just now I've mentioned the influencer, the KOL marketing. And some of you want to be the TikTok and Instagram influencer. All right. Content marketing. I give an example just now. Pay per click. Pay per clicks means every time you click on the ad, all right, then the company will get to pay. Yeah, that means you are actually responsible for the pay per click. Yeah. Then of course we have the mobile marketing. So the job opportunities are very wide. Yeah. And digitalization in business is the way to go. There is no, it is the way to forward. We will not be looking back to the traditional business anymore. So from 2020 onwards, with the industrial revolution that I have mentioned, and with this pandemic that currently the global citizens are facing, digital business will not disappear. Yeah, it will keep on going until the next IR, the next industrial revolution, which is IR 5.0. Okay, so IR 5.0 is talking about how machine and human interact. So that is the next thing as well. So the scope of digital marketing itself is super huge, all right? And the job opportunities is super huge as well, okay? Yeah, so I hope that answers your question, Jason.
Yeah, very clear. They just want to know because they can't dream about it, they can't see. That's why it's clear already for them.
Okay, thank you. I have one more question before I move on to the next section. It is in the chat box. May I know what kind of people are suitable to be a digital marketer? All right, what kind of characteristic? Okay, to be a digital marketer, of course, you need to be very creative. All right, creative, innovative, and you must have the judgment and decision skills that you need. All right, the top 10 skills that I have mentioned earlier on. All right, then you are able to become a good digital marketer. But for me personally, if you want to be a digital marketer, you need to have very good, very innovative, very creative. And you need to have a lot of initiatives. Yep. And of course, a business mindset will be very good. All right. It's an add-on skills for that. Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. I enjoy sharing with all of you in terms of digitalization, and I hope that you can actually get something out of the session. Okay. So now I will pass the floor to Mr. Chong and Mr. Ho for the next session, which is e-commerce and logistic. All right. The perfect duo in business. Enjoy. The floor is yours, Mr. Ho and Mr. Chong.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello. So,
Hello, Mr. Chong. Good morning, everybody. That was a fantastic session by Dr. Kimberly and Dr. Jenny. I hope you all enjoyed the session. Kimberly was talking about communication. Dr. Jenny was talking about the digital business and why you should be digital. Me and Mr. Chong will be talking about logistics and e-commerce. And we decided that we wanted to be a bit more fun and a bit more interactive. So we're going to do it as Q&A. We didn't actually did many slides. We only did one slide. I want to show you this slide. A very important slide. Very important slide, this one. So this slide is Scania. You see, Mr. Chong is from Safeguards Oceanic. Safeguards Oceanic is one of the largest end-to-end logistics service provider in Malaysia. And basically what we want to do is we want to give to participants who ask questions. We're only going to choose 5. So the first 5 who ask questions are interactive. We want to give them we cannot wait. Who is asking question right now? Anyone asking question?
wow, so fast, huh?
No, not yet. So this is swag. So whoever turn on their microphone and ask question, or maybe put into the chat throughout the session. Then let's give them some swag. Why Scania? Actually, because we buy a lot of Scania trucks. I mean, Mr. Chong's company, Safeguards Oceanic. So these are all the different merchandise that Scania has given them, and part of the things. So we thought, okay, let's give it to the people here also. Thank you very much, Mr. Chong, for this.
Hey, no problem. Oh, wow, winning slide, winning slide.
Okay, I'll stop sharing. I'll stop sharing for now. So let me do a bit of introduction about Mr. Chong, and basically from there, we will start some questions. So I'll ask him questions and he tells us. Mr. Chong is the General Manager for Safeguards Asia Group. Safeguards Asia is a multinational group operating in 8 countries with 15,000 people, having businesses in security, logistics, education, which Saito University College is part of it, and also FMCG, Rex. So because of such a large organization, we can draw the different partnerships to give our students ability to learn together, and also to do practical training, management trainings, and all the different things. That's why later Mr. Chong will be talking about a bit about logistics, and also what does he do with our logistics school, the Prime Integrated Logistics School, that kind of thing. Okay, good. So, Mr. Chong, first question I'd like to ask, maybe tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, what you studied.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Wei Shin. You can call me Chong. To make it easier, you can call me Chong. And my background, okay, I started working in the logistics industry for the last 17 years, 17 years. And education-wise, not in logistics, but in business actually. So my experience and my current employment or working experience in logistics actually come by chance but I never look back since Mr. Ho, for 17 years. And I think logistics is a very, very exciting industry to be in. because there's a lot of things that we can do, you know. So as we move on, then I will explain in further lah, in logistics. But yes, in terms of my background, 17 years and counting in logistics.
Why did you go into logistics? What was the reason you took it?
Okay, so logistics, like I said, it actually come by chance because when I graduated in 2003, I graduated with the commerce degree, or rather business lah, you know, majoring in marketing and management. So no knowledge about logistics at that time. So it came. How it came about was a friend of mine was looking for a sales guy, and she approached me and asked me whether I want to start work first or not, while waiting for my because I sent out resume at the time. So while waiting for companies to come back to me, so she was saying that why don't I start working first? And I say, oh, why not? So that is how I started working in logistics. So it was with a forwarding company, a small setup. So then from there, I move on to today lah.
Okay, good. Tell us a little bit about Safeguards Oceanic. What is the company, the background? What type of logistics do you do?
Okay, Safeguards Oceanic. We started this company back in 1982. So we have close to 40 years experience in the logistics industry. So what do? We actually do the total logistics services, where we can provide to customer an end-to-end service. So for example, Mr. Ho, if you are a manufacturer of a rubber glove company, and if your client or your buyer is in just say US, we can actually ship your products from your factory right up to your buyer in US or in any parts of the world. So that is one of our biggest strength, and that is our biggest selling point, in which we are able to do a point-to-point and end-to-end service. So logistics, Mr. Ho, and also for everyone who is in this room, it's actually very wide, because it covers the customs. That is what we call the customs brokerage. So we even do warehousing. So we even do transport. So, or we call it land freight. We do air freight. We do sea freight. So there's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of services falls under the word logistics. And we are happy and glad to say that Safeguards Oceanic provide every single service that is under the logistics industry.
Okay, that's good. This whole thing, how many branches do you have, Mr. Chong?
So we are still very much a growing company. And then currently we have our HQ is in KL, Bukit Damansara. We have an operation in Poklang. We have two operation sites in Poklang actually. One is for the customs brokerage, one is for the transport side. We have a branch in KLIA. That is for our air cargo shipment. We have a branch in Ipoh. We have a branch in Penang. We have a branch in Kemaman. And coming soon, akan datang, will be in JB.
Okay, fantastic. So, give me a scenario lah. I know that one of the big customers that you managed to secure was Hatta Lega. Hatta Lega, one of the biggest rubber glove manufacturers in Malaysia, ships it around the world and things like that. So, what kind of services, logistics services, would someone like Hatta Lega look for? What can you do for them? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ho. So we are proud to announce that we are the service provider to Hatta Lega, one of the largest rubber gloves manufacturers in the world. So what we are providing for Hatalega, okay, we are currently providing the transport service to Hatalega, the ocean freight service to Hatalega, and also we are in the midst of getting them to appoint us as their forwarder, one of the forwarders. Then we can cover the custom brokerage side. So for a company like Hatalega to appoint us, I mean, put it this way, we are not a giant logistics company. You know, we are not the MNCs, you know, like the German companies, you know, or the American companies. But for Hatalega to actually trust us, to actually move their cargo with us, I think that speaks volume of Safeguard's positioning as a whole for a company who, you know, as big as Hatalega, actually move their cargo with us.
So give me give everyone here, maybe the students here, an example of the process lah.
Okay.
So let's say they have their cargo shipment
Okay.
from their factory in Shah Alam, and they have the customer in US. What is the whole process for them to get this particular cargo to the US? Yeah.
Okay. So, for example, like the process will be, Hatalega has goods to ship out. Okay. Again, I will use the example US because that is really their biggest market, the USA. So they have goods ready to be shipped out to US. Now, what they will tell us is that they will tell us, okay, first of all, they will ask us to get the ocean freight rates to them. So we will source from the operator, from the shipping liner. We do X percentage of markup, all right? And then we will sell to Hatalega. Hatalega confirm, we will book the space, and then the arrangement of container for Hatalega will be based on Hatalega's request. So if they say that send the container, just say that 1st of June, so we will send the empty container to their factory for them to do loading. All right. So once they load, we will pull back the container to the port, and that is where we do the forwarding, the customs brokerage. Okay, that is our Portland operation. They will handle, they will declare what's inside the container. And then the container will go on the vessel and then sail to US. So once it reach US, in this case, Hatalega's customer will take over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So our portion, for example, like our portion or our scope of work for Hatalega, for example, is from door to port. So technically from Hatalega's factory right up to the port.
Mm.
Yeah.
So from the port there, they will go on a container ship, and then from there, go onwards to the port where they are going through lah. Very interesting. Very interesting. We have our first people who asking for questions first. I'll read from Shahira first. Cik Shahira, banyak soalan tak berti ada 5 t-shirt lah. I harap you faham lah. Ayo, ini orang. So, Cik Shahira was asking, bagaimana pasaran kerjaya dalam sektor logistik pada masa sekarang? So, how is the job market for logistics right now? Yeah.
Good question. Logistics is actually evolving even to a greater length now. So I mean, so we have spoken about this, but then I will say out now is that the beginning of the pandemic actually create uncertainty to the industry players, to people like us. The uncertainty is because our clients, the manufacturers, because our clients, 95% are the manufacturers. So they are unsure whether they are allowed to work or not during that lockdown and all those. Okay. But then once they get a clearer picture, they get a clearer SOP, they get approval from MITI to operate, that is where we start to see recoveries. So for the last 9 months, the logistics industry really have grown to a different level.
Explode.
So it really explode. Okay. Explode to a certain extent that other businesses, other industry, they are probably shrinking. But we Safeguard Oceanic, we are expanding.
Yeah.
We are
Amazing.
expanding. Like I mentioned, we are expanding to JB. We have planned to expand to Kota Kinabalu. We have planned to expand to Kuching. So to answer her question, the logistics industry will continue to grow. The logistics industry will continue to evolve. Because that is where we will incorporate technologies, we will incorporate what they call it, Mr. Ho is expert in this, we will incorporate the digital marketing, to make logistics industry a more vibrant, a more interesting, because people always have a perception that logistics is very dry. That you pull, you just move a cargo from point A to point B, that's it. But actually there's a lot more that we can do in logistics. So for those who are interested, I really encourage you. This is a time for you to come in. This is a time for you to get involved in logistics, because you will see that the industry will continue to grow. That is what I'm seeing lah.
I think the next question is salary lah. Of course, the most important question lah. So, what is the typical salary of a fresh grad, a degree grad, or diploma grad, and what is the mid range and what is the highest range salary? Yeah.
Okay, for starting pay. So assuming that you finish just say that you finish your degree in logistics. Okay, no working experience. So your starting pay will be, I would say, probably ranging around 2,500 to 2,800. Okay, for a start. So, and then as you move on, if you move on to, let's just say that managerial level. So I'm talking about sales. So assuming that you come in as a sales executive, so your starting pay will be 2005 to 2008. So as you move along, you perform, you really generate sales to the company, and then you become, just say, a BD manager, business development manager, or a sales manager. Your salary can go up to 5,000 to 5,500. Okay, so once you are there, then you become a senior manager or a GM, and then that is where your 5-figure salary will come.
Oh, now we know your salary, sir. Okay.
So so you see, Mr. O, I mean, this is what I get from people who I talk to, who wants to get into logistics, but at the same time they are worried about, is the pay compatible to other industry, but if you ask me, I have to be very honest, logistics may not seem to be the highest pay job compared to other industry, okay, but the reward is good as you move along. Your entry pay, I would say, is not good. That's what I'm trying to say. Your entry pay, if you compare to other industry, no. But as you move along, as you move along the ladder, I would say logistics can pay as well as other industry.
Okay, good. One of the other questions here was a lot of students, they are interested to go into oil and gas, the logistics sector, or these ports and also shipping. So is there opportunity for logistics students to go into these sectors? Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Ho. Okay, let's go one by one. So if you talk about oil and gas, oil and gas is currently still at the, I would say, recovery period. Okay, but I believe that once the oil and gas industry have recovered, the industry will just go boom again. Yes, if you are interested in the oil and gas company under the logistics department, it's also a very interesting division to go in, because oil and gas, we have done oil and gas shipments for our client, and we know that how urgent, and it's something like JIT lah. Just in time, they need the parts to be at the what do you call it, to be offshore. So they will really push for the parts to reach on time. Okay, for the servicing of the to be at the offshore lah. So oil and gas, yes, you can look at, but now maybe it's not the right time because they are still at the recovery stage. So if you talk about port operation is very wide. So so I will jump ahead, which is now, if any one of you actually join Saito's the Prime School of Logistics, they have what they call it, partner with Safeguards Oceanic, in which Safeguard Oceanic we will offer the on-job learning, on-job training for the students, where we will actually bring the students to go to the port. Okay, we will bring the students to go to the port and expose them to the port operations. Okay, from the time of the vessel arriving Port Klang. So what happened? So we will actually give the exposure to the students who are attached to Safeguard Oceanic. Okay, so in this case, yes, if you want to get involved in the port operation, it's really a big opportunity. Just to share with all of you here, Port Klang is one of the major ports in the world. A lot of vessels coming in and out of Port Klang. So opportunities, no doubt.
Amazing, amazing. So this opportunity so this thing that our school, the Prime School of Integrated Logistics and Safeguards Oceanic, you think, have you ever heard of such a thing? I mean, that kind of giving opportunity on the job training, 2 weeks training, that kind of thing. Have you seen it before with anyone else?
No, Mr. Ho, to be honest, no. Because I think this partnership will work really well, Mr. Ho, because at your end, it will be the classroom learning. So then you send your students to attach to Safeguard Oceanic. We will provide them with the field learning. Okay, so what we will do is that we will expose the students, okay, what they have learned in the classroom, we will expose them on job. Okay, so we will attach them. For example, we can send the students to go to our Port Klang office, where they will learn operations, customs. How do we prepare the paperwork? Okay, from preparation of paperwork until submission to customs. This will be an added value to their experience, so that when they finish their diploma and degree, actually it's more valuable lah. Their certificate is more valuable because it comes together with the job training.
Fantastic. So thank you. This was Shakira. Encik Luffy, I'm going to come to your question in a while. I just want to finish the students' question. Aisha Mizan. Aisha Mizan has 2 questions, but only one t-shirt lah, Cik Aisha. My God. Question: what is the big challenge working in the logistics area? Yeah, first question.
The challenge is, of course, if you go to any other industry, there's a challenge lah. In logistics, our biggest challenge will be competing with other service provider for the same piece of cake. Okay. So that is from the sales point of view. So our challenge will be we always try to get new sales. We always try to get new sales because that will actually make our company grow bigger, okay, with new sales. So, but when it comes to operations, our challenge will be customs, okay, customs query, customs start to dispute what we have declared, okay, customs will challenge our declaration is wrong. So on our side, we have to prove to the customs that what we are declaring is correct. Okay, so our challenge will be when we go to the port. So the port operator, they say that their crane is down, for example. So there's no container they are not able to lift the container. So everything is put on hold. Okay, so our challenge will be we have sales, we have business, but then our trucks are down. Okay, so these are all, I would say, manageable challenges. Okay, manageable challenges which we can, certain things that can be preempt earlier. So for example, if we talk about trucks, we can always do a preventive maintenance. So these are a lot of challenges can be solved, can be rectified, unless if it's a third party that causes it, which is out of our control. Then there's nothing much that we can do except for continuing pressing them and continuing to follow up with them.
Yeah. Fantastic. Another question from Aisha. What is the advantage of some e-business knowledge? So understand some digital business, e-commerce, inside the degree lah. I think Aisha, you're talking about if you got logistics and also e-business, what's the advantage lah? Yeah.
Okay. E-commerce. Now the e-commerce and logistics actually comes hand in hand. All right. So when we talk about e-commerce, so for example, when we talk about e-commerce, we are referring to people like maybe the Lazadas, the Shoppees, all these people. Now, for the likes of Lazadas and Shoppees, when they started, they do not have the delivery team. Okay, what they do is that they are e-commerce seller buyer. Okay, so what they do, they outsource the delivery, the last mile delivery to the logistics player. Okay, so now e-commerce and logistics, why I say it comes hand in hand is that the logistics company can complement the e-commerce industry, where we can come in and we can provide them a logistics solution. Okay, logistics solution, the biggest challenge that an e-commerce player or e-commerce company is facing now is always the last mile delivery, where you buy something and when are you going to get it? So that is the biggest challenge. Okay, just to share with you, just a couple of years ago, I spoke to one of the top local courier company, and the last mile delivery for parcels, the head of operation told me missed delivery is up to 50% a day.
Oh shit! Wow,
yeah,
50%.
50%. So that is their biggest challenge. Okay, so assuming one day you have 1,000 parcel, but 500 will be returned back to depot. the missed delivery. So this is a part where we as a logistics player, we can go in and we can tell the e-commerce people, we can say, hey, we can improve on your solution. Okay, so you are facing a 50% non or missed delivery by using this service provider, but when we come in, we can reduce your missed deliver. So if you have knowledge, if you have experience in e-commerce and also in logistics, trust me, your resume will be better than anyone else. So I want to share with you. I think Ben has mentioned, Ben is our operation director. Ben has mentioned about a logistics manager is currently being headhunted by the likes of Grabs, the Lala Moves, the Food Panda, to manage their logistics division. And when they joined them, I was told that the salary just doubled.
Oh, double salary.
Yeah, so you can imagine if you have e-commerce, if you have logistics, people will headhunt you.
So if you got experience and you got a logistics skill, actually there's shortage of people, competent people in the market.
You're right. You're right. Because currently in the market is either you are e-commerce or you are logistics. So, but if you have both, it will be an added value.
Fantastic. Okay. We got 10 minutes more. Let's take a few more questions because everyone want t-shirt. Encik Luffy, I rasa mau kenakan you lah, Encik Chong. This Luffy asks, Mr. Chong, can you explain about 4P and 5P? I heard of 3PL before. How about 4PL and 5PL? Apa itu ah?
Third party logistics is quite common. 3PL is third party logistics. Third party logistics is where you are the producer of goods. Okay, you are a producer. Just say that you are a farmer, like you are a producer of potatoes. Okay, so third-party logistics is where I go and take all your potatoes from your farm. I pack it for you. Okay, I pack it for you, and then I deliver to your. I pack it for you. I do your warehousing. Okay, pack, do your warehousing, and I do delivery to your final buyers. Okay, this is quite common. This is what a lot of people have been doing. Okay, they set up a warehouse. Okay, they set up a warehouse. They store the customers' goods. They manage the goods. Okay, if need to be packed, they will pack for the client, and then they deliver to the final consumer or the buyer lah. Okay. Now, for PL, all these things remain. Okay, all these things remain, and you just add logistics inside. Okay, you just add. So the difference between 3PL and 4PL is the logistics side. Now, the logistics side here means export shipment. Okay, potato maybe you export to just say Thailand. Okay, the 4PL logistics provider will ship to Thailand for you. Okay, yeah. And then if you talk about 5PL, 5PL is like a complete set of supply chain. Okay, from the producer, I take, I pack, I do warehousing, I deliver, I ship for you. Okay, it's like, I would say the total package of it. But 5PL, to be honest, there are not many players who are doing it. You know, currently what we have, the most common is 3PL, moving to 4PL. Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you. Very important question. Should we give this Luffy a t-shirt? You think?
Luffy, Luffy, I think if you got extra, only give lah. So.
Okay. Very good, sir. We got a question, a few more questions. Muhammad Hanif, what is the responsibility of a logistician? Someone who has statistics and logistics also. Logistician. Yeah.
Okay. The responsibility?
Yeah. Responsibility. Yeah.
Logistician. Oh, you call it logistician,
Glamour.
Oh, so am I a logistician, Mr.
I think so. Consider you know how to use statistics, you know how to use logistics. So logistician.
Okay. So what we do is that yes, we use data, we use statistics, we use numbers, either internally, okay, or we use external data. So for example, Mr. I just share with you. Every month we get a data from association. So in this case, I will share that maybe it's called Holiday Association. So every month they will churn out a report for all the industry players on your standing for the month. Okay. So from there what we can see is that where are we in the previous month? Okay. How far are we behind compared to the top players, or how far ahead are we compared to the medium and a smaller player? Okay. And then another one that we can use is that we can use shipping line, or rather, if somebody can give us some data from the shipping line, the shipping industry, which trade has the biggest containers moving up. So for example, the manufacturers in Malaysia, let's just talk about rubber gloves. Where is the biggest export market in rubber gloves? Okay.
US? No.
So, I mean, if you ask me, it's US. Okay, because when we were doing for Top Glove, it's also US. Fata Lega is also US. So, if somebody can give us the data that, okay, the top 10 rubber glove manufacturer in Malaysia, their biggest market is US. Okay, as we go into detail, okay, how many containers a month? Which port in US do they ship to? Now, this is very important, Mr. Ho, so that once we see, oh, actually the trade is US, the biggest trade is US. Example, 1 month, 2,000 containers going to US, only on rubber glove. Okay, then they give another breakdown to which port, New York, California, and all those. Now, how does it benefit the logistics company? Is that we will then talk to the shipping line. we will enter a service contract with the shipping line to get a better pricing, a better service, a better schedule.
Mm.
Then for us to go into all these rubber gloves company and tell them that we are specialists in US sector.
Fantastic,
Okay,
fantastic.
you move
Good.
with us. Yeah.
Okay.
So actually, yeah, correct. Data numbers will really benefit the logistics company if we have it. Then
Okay.
we will narrow down our target market.
Okay, quick question. Why WJY asks, which is better, supply chain management and logistics management, which is better? And I hope you say logistics is better. Thank you.
Logistics is better, definitely.
Don't lah, don't. Hey, don't
no,
cheat
no,
them.
no. No lah. Before you finish the sentence, also logistics lah. Yeah
Why,
lah.
why, sir? Why?
Okay. I would say, you see, logistics. Of course, logistics is part of supply chain. All right. Because supply chain is where from the time it's being manufactured all the way until it's being delivered lah. Okay. But logistics, I would say, it's more challenging. It gives you more knowledge. It widens your knowledge. Actually, it widens your horizon. Okay. Because why? Every single item in logistics, okay, that person need to know. Okay. Supply chain, you may not know production because production will have their own, okay, finish already production, okay, time to ship out, okay, I ship out. Okay. But logistics is customer tell us finish. Customer tell us book. That is where we start working. When we start working, we have to see all the way from the customer's door until their buyer's door, for example. Okay. So logistics, please move into logistics. Logistics will give you the better understanding, the better knowledge. Okay, it will give you a greater experience.
So it's more applied lah. The knowledge is more applied.
Correct. So the knowledge is more applied. For some, you may go in, for example, you may come into a company just as a sales, but you will be exposed to operations. Okay, you will be exposed to operation. You will be exposed to legislation. Okay, related to the Malaysian customs. All right, and these are the one that actually will be added on to your knowledge, to your experience, and eventually to your resume, to your CV. You know, that you are not just coming in this company for the last 5 years, you only do sales, then you got no other knowledge. But logistics are able to give you all this, you know, especially if they tie up with Saito Prime School and also with us, Safeguards Oceanic.
Wow, must plug us. Thank you. Give you more money lah. Okay, very good. So next question from Asha. This one is our staff, so I don't want to give her T-shirt, but okay lah, we answer her question. Key competency for a logistic professional. What are the key skill or key things that they need to have to be leading in the market? Yeah.
Okay. Number one, I live by this Mr. Ho, will be the knowledge. Number one, you need to understand the logistics, number one, and what are the services covered in logistics. You have to be well-versed in that, okay? Because when we go and see client, for example, not every client will talk to you about dollar and cents, okay? They will throw you some operation questions, okay? They will throw you some legislation questions just to test whether you are really experienced or whether and whether you know what you're talking about now. Okay, so number one, sales skill can be taught, okay, but your knowledge in operations to get involved, okay, to immerse yourself in the operation side will be beneficial. Number two is on the this is what we also will provide the training on the legislation. Okay, we will put the staff to attend like seminar with various government agencies on what is the latest regulation. All right. So, and of course, another one will be to be a long-standing player in the industry is you have to continue to evolve yourself with what is the latest in the market. Okay, so like I said earlier, if you don't incorporate technology into your industry, I think you will be left behind. Okay, you will be left behind. And So this is what I've gained from throughout the years of my experience.
I think one question, last one. Siti No Diana, sales career in logistics, is it a good choice?
Hey, good choice, good choice, good choice. Diana, kalau tidak, tak payah 17 tahun lah. I think 17 bulan I also berhenti already lah, you know. It's a very interesting market, you know, Mr. Ho, where you go out, you go and see a client, you know, you go in and then suddenly the client tell you that I don't want to change. I'm very happy with my service provider, but you mati, you want this account, you know. So that actually gives you the drive, you know. You have a target, you have an aim. I must secure this client, I don't care, you know. So it gives you the drive. Okay, how do I change the customer's mind, you know? What ways can I approach the client? How can I approach them differently? Okay, so in sales is very rewarding. Okay, of course, sales, if you bring in, you are the star of the company. Okay, that is the rewarding part. Of course, once you start to bring in business to the company, that is where your promotion will come lah. Okay, and then number two, I think this is very valuable, Mr. Ho. Number two is that when you are in the sales line, you expand your network. Okay, you expand your network. So your network can be among the clients, number one. Number two is your network with the shipping line people. Okay. Number three, your network among the other logistics players. You know, so this is what we call friendly competitor lah. You know, they can be your competitor, but at the same time they can be your friends. You know, where you can share your experience. You know, you can share basically you share notes lah. You know, as long as you know your boundary, you can build your network. I think your network will be very, very valuable. Okay, once you get into sales, because that is where you get to meet a lot of people.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Mr. Chong, I think we run out of time, but I think that was a fantastic session. I think the T-shirt that you provided helped a lot to prompt so many people ask questions.
Oh, you're welcome, Mr. Ho. I hope enough to give out.
Enough, very enough. And then just one or two words more to tell advice to students, and then we wrap up already. Okay.
For the students who are here, thank you for listening. My advice to the students here, or I just want to share something with all of you here, is that after 17 years in logistics and counting, I still find it a very interesting industry to be in. I still find it a very challenging industry to be working in. Okay, for me, there's no looking back, you know, because I believe that this industry will continue to grow, will continue to evolve. So for the students here, please do consider. And once you have decided, please do sign up with Saito Prime School of Logistics, because they are going to tie up with Safeguards Oceanic for your on-job training. Now, this is very important because classroom learning can be very dry, but once you get into the on-job training, that is where the excitement will come. Okay, that is where what you learn in classroom, actually you are doing it. You are experiencing it yourself. So this partnership between Saito and Safeguard Oceanic is very valuable. Please grab the opportunity. Please grab the chance. Sign up. We will ensure that you will get both different type of learning. One is a classroom learning. One is the on-job learning. Please do talk to Saito's counselors, find out more about this program, and I hope to see all of you. Thank you, Mr. Ho.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Ho, before you turn off, can I ask one question? Is there any
yes.
difference between government logistics and also the private sector? What are the differences?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for highlighting this. Okay, government to do business for government or government logistics is that not every logistics company can actually go into government agency or the GLCs to provide their service. But we are happy to announce that Safeguards Oceanic is under the MTO status, or multimodal transport operator. Now, the moment the logistics company is under MTO, then only they can do logistics for government. Okay, so Dato', to answer your question, we are one of the maybe 35 logistics company with MTO status. 35 out of thousands of company in Malaysia are eligible to do government logistics, and we are one of it.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Of course, for private sector, it's more straightforward. It's more how do I say it, it's more challenging lah, because everybody can do mah, you know. But government is more, number one, limited to a few players. Number two is that it's really how do I say, a different type of challenge, in the sense that they will give you the PO that they issue to you. There's a deadline to it. Okay, you must complete the door-to-door logistics in that stipulated time period. Okay, so that is a bit more challenging, you know. So yes, we logistics we can do for both government and for private sector. Dato', thank you.
Thank you, Dato'. Dr. JD, back to you. Thank you.
Okay, all right.
Well
Thank
done,
you so
Dato'.
much, gentlemen, for the wonderful session.
Thank you.
I believe with the things that you have actually given, I think the students will actually take away. So logistics and e-commerce, guys, is the way to go. All right. So make sure you stay tuned for a lot more. Now, before we actually go back to the main hall, I just want to share with you a little bit more about Saito Business School. Yeah. Can you all see this slides?
Yes.
Okay, great. Can some of you mute the mic, please? Thank you. All right. Can you see the slideshows, or you are seeing the PowerPoint?
Seeing the PowerPoint, yeah. Seeing the slideshow. Can.
Is it the slides already?
You press F5.
Sorry, it's not moving. Give me one moment. All right, so just a bit about Saito Business School, yeah? So these are the lecturers in Saito Business School, Logistic, as well as School of Education, yeah? So we all fall under the same umbrella. So these are the experts in their own field that will be teaching all of you, if those of you who are interested to join us, yeah? Again, I just want to emphasize on the brand promise that Saito University College has and Saito Business School are having, all right? So we have the work and study pathway. All our lecturers, we impart good teaching. And like what Mr. Chung and Mr. Ho mentioned just now, that is actually work integrated learning, meaning to say you are not only learning by the books, but we are bringing the industry to you. So with all these three brand promises, we hope that you will actually be a graduate with the following skills. You are able to communicate effectively and efficiently. You are a lifelong learner, all right? You have the necessary knowledge and skills to go out there and work and climb the corporate ladder. You are able to solve problems. You are a critical thinker, and you have the autonomy and global perspective. So these are the skills that we expect our students to have once they graduate from Saito University College. And the learning doesn't stop at Saito University College. the learning will continue. Yeah, that's why we call it as lifelong learner. Now, just a bit of the programs that we have at Saito Business School. So if let's say you are SPM believers, if you have 3 credits, you can actually join us for diploma program. We have 3 types of diploma here. We have business management, human resource management, and we have logistic management. And if let's say you have 5 credits and above, you can actually join us for the foundation program. And all these programs actually will lead you to our degree programs, which is Bachelor of Business in Management, Bachelor of Business in Digital Marketing, as what I have mentioned in my session. We also have Bachelor of Human Resource Management and Bachelor of Business in Logistics and e-business. All right, so that's the perfect combination for those of you who are interested in logistics as well as e-commerce. Yeah. Just to highlight, these are the things that we are going to have from June until December. The global classroom, remember during Miss Kimberly's session, we have actually mentioned that Miss Kimberly will be joining us as global speaker. And these are some of the speakers from all over the world who will be having sharing sessions with our student. Yeah, we have Prof. Mariam, who is the Executive Dean from Addis Cowan University. We have Eleanor Moshe, who is the construction coach from Melbourne, Australia. Then, of course, we have our Miss Kimberly William there. Then we have Barbara from Belgium. Yeah, so please stay tuned and join us for all these interesting experience. Yeah. Now, at Saito Business School, we pride ourselves as the Go Digital Business School. Okay, we have our Digital Business Center. We have the Applied Learning and Work Integrated Learning, as what I have mentioned earlier. We have the 2 degrees, 2 experience, meaning to say, if let's say you join us for Saito degree and you would like to have these 2 degree, 2 experiences, we are actually partnering with UWE, UK, University of West England, Bristol, who is actually top 30, all right, in ranking top 30 in Times New, Times Higher Education. So that's a very wonderful experience. So those of you who are interested, do drop us an email or visit us at our Instagram. And of course, we prepare our students to be future job ready. We also have our global classroom, like what I have mentioned, what I have shared earlier on about the speakers. So this will be an ongoing sessions for our students. Yeah, so we will have from June to December, and then from January to May, then June to December. So each of the session, we will have different speakers who will be coming in to talk to our students, share their experiences and knowledge. Then of course, we have the free electives. So students can actually opt to have the free electives whereby they can actually choose to take some non-business modules. All right. Okay, just also one of the good news that we want to actually inform all of you, all right, for those of you who actually plan to further your studies, we have our MBA program, all right, which we plan to launch end of the year, all right, hopefully before end of the year. And these are some of the areas that might interest you. Okay, we have our digital marketing MBA for those of you who want to actually specialize in digital marketing, management, logistic, fintech. All right, so now with the digitalization in business, fintech is one of the sought after, all right, area that you would like to take on, you may like to take on. And of course, we have design intelligence as well. So MBA is the way to go. And we also have our PhD up in the pipeline. So for those of you who are interested, please visit our Instagram. We have 2 there. We have saito.uc and we have our business school Instagram, saito_business_school. And that's my email. Should you have any further question, please feel free to ask me about the session, about Miss Kimberly's session, and all these things. Yeah. So that's the end of the sharing session. Any question before we move to the main hall? No question, then guys, I will see you at the main hall now. All right. Please stay tuned because we have some interesting news that we want to share with you later on in a short while. Won't
Thank
take
you.
Well
long,
done,
another
Dr.
5 more
Jenny.
minutes.
Well done.
Thank you,
Well done.
everybody. Thank you, everybody. Thank you
Well
for
done.
absolutely. Bye bye.
Don't leave, yeah, don't leave. We will go back to the main hall. Thank you.
We just leave
Well
this
done.
room. I go back to the main hall. All right.
Yeah.